The funeral corset effigy of Queen Elizabeth I. Queen Elizabeth I passed away at the age of 69 on the 24th of March 1603 at Richmond Palace. Her body remained at Richmond for a short time before being transported by barge to Whitehall Palace, where it was placed on public display. On the 28th of April 1603, thousands of mourners gathered to witness her funeral procession as it made its way to Westminster Abbey. According to one account, the atmosphere was filled with overwhelming grief, with people sighing, groaning and weeping, like never before in living memory. Elizabeth's coffin, draped in purple velvet, was carried on a chariot pulled by 4 grey horses outfitted with black drapings, and a life-size effigy of the Queen, intricately painted, was placed atop the coffin. The Queen's body was encased in lead inside the wooden coffin and interred in the vault of her grandfather, King Henry VII, beneath his grand monument in the Abbey. Elizabeth's successor, King James I, did not attend the funeral, and in 1760 the original effigy was replaced with a new version featuring a wax head and updated garments. However, the original corset from 1603 has survived, and after being carefully restored, it was displayed independently from the dressed effigy. It is a rare and historical garment, the cloth corset worn by the funeral effigy of Queen Elizabeth I in 1603, and it is exhibited at Westminster Abbey, offering visitors a glimpse into the world of England's most iconic monarch. The funeral of Elizabeth I, famously known as the Virgin Queen, was held on the 28th of April 1603 and remains etched in the memories of those who witnessed it. Elizabeth, the younger daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn, had ruled England for 44 transformative years before passing away at the age of 69. Her successor was James VI of Scotland, the son of Mary, Queen of Scots, Elizabeth's second cousin. Though Mary was executed on Elizabeth's orders for treason, James set aside their family's dark history in his pursuit of the English crown, becoming James I of England. The day of her funeral was a grand spectacle. Elizabeth's coffin, draped in regal purple velvet, was carried in a chariot from Whitehall to Westminster Abbey. The hearse was drawn by horses adorned in black velvet, set in a solemn tone. Atop the coffin rested a wooden effigy of Elizabeth, carefully crafted and painted to resemble her likeness. She held a sceptre in her hands, and a crown sat atop her head, a final symbol of her sovereignty. Onlookers found the effigy so realistic that many commented that it almost looked as if she were alive. An observer of the event wrote, "Westminster was filled with multitudes of all sorts of people, crowding streets, windows and rooftops to catch a glimpse of the procession. When they saw her statue lying upon the coffin, there was such a general sighing, groaning and weeping, as the like hath not had been seen or known in the memory of man. Beneath the effigy's elaborate gown was a corset and undergarments that had been meticulously crafted, likely by William Jones, Queen Elizabeth's personal tailor. It is believed that the corset was modelled after the designs of the bodices that she wore in life, reflecting the same slender figure that she maintained until her final days. Now, over 4 centuries later, this remarkable corset has been publicly displayed as part of a special exhibition at Westminster Abbey. The corset was showcased in the Queen's Diamond Jubilee Galleries, a space located more than 50 feet above the Abbey's floor in the medieval triforium. Described by a poet as offering the best view in Europe, this hidden area has never before been opened to the public. The exhibition features around 300 rare and treasured objects, but the corset of Queen Elizabeth I is sure to be among the most fascinating. Over 400 years since the Queen's funeral, and the exhibition promised to be a unique opportunity for the public to connect with history, standing in the presence of an item that once honoured one of England's most enduring monarchs. In 1995, a remarkable study took place when the funeral effigy of Queen Elizabeth I, housed in Westminster Abbey, was carefully undressed for examination. Once the elaborate gown and hoop skirt were removed, historians were able to analyse the corset and drawers beneath, revealing new insights into Elizabethan fashion. Janet Arnold, a renowned expert in Elizabethan costume, led the scrutiny of the undergarments. After a detailed assessment, Arnold concluded that the corset and drawers were indeed contemporary to Elizabeth's death in 1603, confirming their authenticity as original funeral attire. For the public display, the corset underwent meticulous conservation. A team led by costume historian Jenny Tiramani worked to preserve the delicate garment and uncovered fascinating details in the process. One notable discovery was the asymmetry of the corset's boning, with the structure finishing slightly lower on the right-hand side. This subtle design choice would have granted Queen Elizabeth greater freedom of movement in her dominant right hand, a small but telling adaptation for a monarch who was known for her active and commanding presence. Elizabeth I was renowned not only for her intellect and political acumen, but also for her striking appearance. She was tall and slender, with a remarkably narrow waist and graceful hands. Her distinctive auburn hair was inherited from her father, Henry VIII, though in most other respects she resembled her mother, Anne Boleyn. Elizabeth had an elongated oval face, a slightly olive complexion, and dark brown eyes. At the age of 25, the Venetian ambassador to England noted that her mind is considered no less excellent than her person, although her face is commonly rather than handsome. He also described her as tall and well-formed, with good skin, though somewhat sallow in tone. Throughout her reign, Elizabeth carefully curated her image, using fashion as a tool of power and spectacle. She reportedly owned over 3,000 gowns, many of them lavishly adorned with jewels such as diamonds and sapphires. It is said that she ordered new shoes every week. And while her wardrobe boasted a variety of colours, she favoured white and black, symbolic of her virginity and purity, key components of the image that she projected as the Virgin Queen. Beneath her opulent dresses, Elizabeth wore a tightly laced corset, stiffened with wood or iron, a petticoat, a farthingale to add volume, and stockings, a complex ensemble that reflected her status and fashion of the time. Elizabeth's funeral was as grand as her life. Held with great pomp and magnificence, the event saw over 1,000 mourners accompanying her coffin in a sombre procession to Westminster Abbey. Crowds lined the streets, and many were overcome with emotion at the sight of her effigy passing by. The hearse, draped in rich fabrics and pulled by horses, was a deeply moving symbol of her legacy. One observer famously likened the scene to a land swimming in water, as tears fell from every corner. The effigy atop the hearse, with its lifelike depiction of the Queen, only added to the sense of loss felt by the public. The Queen's corset, now preserved for modern audiences, offers not only a rare glimpse into the physical world of one of England's greatest rulers, but also serves as a reminder of the profound care Elizabeth took in shaping her image. Through her clothes she expressed her authority, independence, and the enduring mystique that has kept her legacy alive for centuries.